So you were asking me before this about the fights.
Yeah, that's
the UFC this weekend.
What do you think? Because when they were counter-striker, that's why they keep the distance. And they know exactly that's.
This is what I think. A lot of people were like pissed off. It was boring, but I think that's because they just want to see people beat the fuck out of each other, which I understand. That's why you tune into cage fighting. But to me, the way I always describe martial arts is it's high-level problem solving with dire physical consequences. And if you run in on Tyron Woodley, you got some dire physical consequences. He's a fucking powerhouse. And if Woodley charges at Thompson, there's dire physical consequences because he was getting tagged. When he said it to me after the fight, he's like, he caught me a few times as I was charging towards him. So Woodley has a different style than Thompson. Thompson has that wide stance, that karate style, and he's excellent at moving in and moving out and almost like point fighting you.
Right.
He's just jabbing you, hitting you with these clean left hands, sliding out of the way, occasionally throwing kicks, but mostly what he's doing is making you wonder what he's going to do and when he's coming at you. And Woodley had to pick his battles and figure out when he could launch himself at him. So at any moment, something could have happened. But a lot of shit didn't happen. Right. So the people watching at home like, that was the most boring fight ever. It's because those moments are so critical. Those moments are so dangerous. Right. You can't just, they would like it to be like Frankie Edgar, Gray Maynard, just fucking chaos, punches throwing, wild. It's not going to happen like that. You can't do that with Wonder Boy. You can't charge at him like that. He will fucking counter you, and you'll be one of those people on his highlight reel. So Tyron Woodley was very smart, and that he knew that he couldn't charge at him. And Wonder Boy, he's not going to charge at Woodley either. I mean, he got almost knocked the fuck out in the first fight. He almost got knocked the fuck out in the fifth round of the second fight, too. Yeah. Woodley's a powerhouse, man. He hits so goddamn hard. So everybody had to be on their toes. They both had to be minding their P's and Q's. And that translated for a boring fight to a lot of people, but not to me. To me, I was like, anything can happen at any moment. In the fifth round, it almost did.
Almost did.
When Woodley connected and Thompson's knees went out, I mean, he slumped. He was out, man. He was out for at least a half a second or a moment, you know. There was a moment where his legs gave out, his body went limp, and they could have stopped the fight right there. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they kept it going. I talked to Big John McCarthy in the cage after the fight. I go, how close were you to stopping that fight? He goes, I wasn't close to stopping that fight. I go, well, you were looking, right? He goes, I was looking. I go, you were looking close. He goes, I'll never admit it. I go, but it was, I mean, he was almost out, right? He goes, he was almost out. He might have been out for a half a second, but I gave him a chance. I go, he did a great job. He did an amazing job. I mean, that's why Big John McCarthy's so important, a guy with that kind of experience. And if he fucked that up, everybody would be so mad at him. But he did it perfect. It was perfect. He has the most difficult job in the sport other than the fighters. Fighters have the most difficult job. Second most difficult job is the referee. Third most difficult job is the judges.
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah, I believe he's going to interpret trauma for the other people.
Well, he has to be at the right angle. Right. Like, they're moving around and they're fast and they could go to his left and he could be over here, but something could be happening on their right and he doesn't even see it. You know, you don't know. Like, sometimes guys don't see taps. Sometimes guys don't see certain eye pokes or groin shots. There's a lot of things that can happen. A referee's job is insanely difficult, and they only get praise when they fuck up. Right, or they only rather get attention when they fuck up. They don't get any praise when they do a great job. And just they need more. You know, they need more. More people need to understand, like, how difficult that is. So that moment where Tyron finally did connect on Wonder Boy, and everybody's like, why didn't you do that earlier? Because he could have got knocked the fuck out. Like, that was where the opening was. Woodley was so aggressive because he was down on the scorecards, at least in his corner's eyes, and in my eyes he was as well, and he had to charge forward, and he had to connect, and he did. But to make that happen, a lot of things have to be in place. You have to understand Wonder Boy's timing. He had been fighting him for 4 rounds already. He was getting a sense of what Wonder Boy could and couldn't do. He also knew the consequences. He'd been tagged a couple of times. Right. So he knew, like, I can't just rush at him, because Wonder Boy was trying to time him with that right hook. He was standing in the southpaw position with his right leg forward. He throws that front leg side kick to the body. He throws it really well because he picks it up from the ground, like, low, and it sort of scoops up. So you don't see it coming until it's too late. It might not be the most powerful application of the front leg side kick, but it's very sneaky because he slides in with that foot low, and then it comes up and stabs you. And you don't know if it's going to come up as a side kick or if it's going to go up and over your shoulder as a round kick. You don't know what he's doing. He's so sneaky. So Tyron had to be very cautious. And for a lot of people, it was very boring because of that. But I didn't think it was boring while it was happening. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, there's going to be moments when the shit starts flying. And in those moments, that's where the fight becomes amazing. But those guys are smart, and they're not dumb. And the belt is so goddamn important. When you have the belt, you get to decide. You fight all the best fighters. You make the money. You know, you get the opportunities for the big money fights, like the Conor McGregor type fights. Those only happen if you have the belt. If you don't have the belt, nobody gives a fuck about you. So for a guy like Tyron, man, that belt is everything. For a guy like Woodley, or a guy like Wonderboy, rather, that belt is everything. If you don't have that belt, you make a fraction of what you make. Like, think about that fight. That fight's insanely close. It was so close. Dominic Cruz afterwards said, that's basically the same fight as the first fight.
Right.
It's like you could call, if you call the first fight a draw, you could easily call this fight a draw. And I agree with him. So that means that Wonderboy and Woodley are essentially like so closely matched stylistically that it's a wash, right? But meanwhile, Woodley's the one who's the champion. Woodley's the one who has the potential to fight Conor McGregor. Woodley is the one who has the potential to fight Michael Bisping or who else he fights at whatever weight he fights at. And that is where the money is. Right. So he's the guy who's going to get the money. Whereas Wonderboy, who essentially had a draw with him, proved that he was at least close enough on one fight and just a hair under on the second fight. He's going to make a fraction of what Woodley makes, likely. So those consequences have to be taken into consideration when you're watching these guys fight, is that they know there's a win bonus and there's a loss. Like, if you lose, you get your show money. You don't get a bonus. But if you win, you get twice the money. Like, a lot of guys have the way their contract is structured, you know, they'll make X if they win, and they'll make X plus X. They'll make X plus X if they win, but if they lose, they only make X. So they might be getting $200,000 for the fight, but another $200,000 if they win. That's a giant swing. That's a big deal. So they have to be really fucking careful they don't make mistakes. I don't like win bonuses, man. I don't like it. I think those guys are trying to win anyway. They're trying to win. I just think, like, especially in particular in situations like that, when fights are like that fucking close. Like, a judge can decide whether or not you make an extra $200,000 or don't. Like, that seems crazy to me.
Right. Are you still training?
Yeah, I saw you boxing.
Yeah. I saw you boxing a few weeks ago, right?
I'm back doing jiu-jitsu again too. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I was working on heavy bag last night at the Alberto Crane Academy. I was night. I came back from Ventura. I was teaching a workshop, and I need some something. I didn't want to lift weight. You know, I see the dojo empty, heavy bags, gloves. I said, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Well, heavy bag, I think, is everybody would do better if they had a heavy bag in their garage.
Yeah. Just
go out there and hit that thing. It feels good. You don't even have to have great form. Just go out there and hit it. It's so good for your body to just explode and just release tension and stress. Right. And for people who have, like, joint issues, they have these water bags. It's essentially like a thick layer of the outside is like a thick layer of padding, like a few inches of pad of foam, and then inside of that is a water bladder. It's filled with water. So when you punch it, it's like whoosh, your arm goes into it. But you could really dig in and hit it hard, but it doesn't have the same impact like on your joints. You don't feel it so much on your elbows and your shoulders and stuff because there's give to it.
You know, it's creativity. I mean, once in Sicily, you know, you ever been in Italy?
Yeah. I was at the first time last year. I went to Italy.
Cool.
Loved it.
You like it?
Oh, man. I went to Rome,
nice.
Went to the Vatican, saw the Vatican. We went to, what is the mountain area?
Dolomite?
No. God damn it.
Alpine?
It was out near where the volcano killed everybody, Vesuvius.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we went there, and then we went to the Amalfi Coast.
Amalfi Coast.
Yes,
yeah,
that's where it was.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, man.
It's amazing.
So beautiful. It didn't even seem real. It seems like you were in front of a green screen.
It's crazy.
Like, you look out, you know, you have to go on this mountain road. It's crazy, Joey. It's a road that should be one lane, but it's two, and there's buses on it. Fucking buses and motorcycles. Assholes and motorcycles. weaving in and out of cars. People in Italy drive like fucking maniacs. Like you have never seen. We all know Italians are kind of crazy. I'm mostly Italian, and I know you're fucking crazy.
Do you have the left-hand steering wheel? Or
No.
Right? It's regular, like
Regular. Yeah. It's only left-hand in England and
South
in
Africa.
Japan, South Africa. Yeah.
Have you gotten in the car with a left hand?
Yes.
With a right hand?
Oh, Australia as well.
Australia as
What
well.
did you feel like?
It's fucking confusing as shit. You're like, where are we going? Ah, you're on the road.